Roanoke Colony. In 1587, more than 100 English settlers arrived on Roanoke Island, located in what is now North Carolina. Their governor, John White, sailed back to England for supplies, but war delayed his return for 3 years. When he finally came back, the settlement was completely abandoned. There were no bodies, no signs of battle, and almost no clues. The only message left behind was the word Croatoan carved into a wooden post. Historians have proposed many explanations, including starvation, conflict, disease, or assimilation into nearby indigenous communities. More than 4 centuries later, the fate of the settlers remains unknown. The Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich Manuscript is one of the most mysterious books ever discovered. Dating back to the early 15th century, it contains hundreds of pages filled with strange illustrations, unknown symbols, and writing that no one has successfully translated. The book includes drawings of unusual plants, astronomical diagrams, and figures bathing in green liquid. Cryptographers, historians, and linguists have spent decades trying to understand it. Some believe it contains a real language, while others think it may be an elaborate hoax. Despite modern computers and advanced analysis, its meaning remains a mystery. The Lost City of Atlantis. Atlantis first appeared in the writings of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato around 360 BCE. He described a powerful island civilization that supposedly sank beneath the sea after a catastrophic event. Since then, countless explorers and researchers have searched for evidence of its existence. Possible locations have been suggested across the Atlantic Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, and even Antarctica. Some scholars argue that Atlantis was only a fictional story meant to teach a lesson about pride and power. Others continue to believe it was a real place that has yet to be found. The Princes in the Tower. In 1483, 2 young boys, Edward V and his brother Richard of Shrewsbury, were placed inside the Tower of London after their father's death. They were expected to become important figures in England's royal succession. Instead, they disappeared. Their uncle later became king as Richard III, leading many to suspect that he was involved. Centuries of investigation have produced theories, but no clear answers. Although human remains were found in the tower in the 17th century, their true identity has never been confirmed. The Mary Celeste. In 1872, the merchant ship Mary Celeste was discovered drifting in the Atlantic Ocean. The vessel was in good condition, its cargo was mostly intact, and there was enough food and water on board. Yet the captain, his family, and the entire crew had vanished. There were no obvious signs of violence or piracy. Over time, theories have ranged from mutiny and sea monsters to natural disasters and toxic fumes. None have been proven. The ship became one of the most famous maritime mysteries in history. The Tomb of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great died in 323 BCE after building one of the largest empires of the ancient world. Historical records suggest that his body was preserved and placed in an elaborate tomb that became a famous attraction for centuries. However, the tomb eventually vanished from history. Numerous searches have taken place, particularly around Alexandria in Egypt, but no confirmed burial site has been found. Discovering it would provide valuable insight into one of history's most influential leaders. The Lost Franklin Expedition. In 1845, British explorer John Franklin led an expedition to find a route through the Arctic known as the Northwest Passage. 2 ships and 129 crew members entered the icy waters and never returned. Search missions later uncovered scattered evidence, including abandoned camps and written notes. Modern investigations revealed that the ships became trapped in ice and that the crew suffered extreme hardship. Even so, many details about their final months remain uncertain, leaving historians with unanswered questions. The identity of Jack the Ripper. During 1888, a series of brutal murders shocked London. The killer became known as Jack the Ripper after letters supposedly written by the murderer were sent to the press. Despite one of the largest investigations of the era, the culprit was never identified. Over the years, dozens of suspects have been proposed, ranging from local residents to members of the upper class. The case transformed criminal investigations and continues to attract attention because of the many unanswered questions surrounding it. The Phaistos Disc. Discovered on the island of Crete in 1908, the Phaistos Disc is a small clay object covered with mysterious symbols arranged in a spiral pattern. The symbols were stamped into the clay rather than carved, making it unique among ancient artifacts. Researchers believe it dates back more than 3,000 years. The challenge is that no one knows what language it represents. Without other examples to compare it with, attempts to decipher its message have produced little agreement. The disappearance of Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was one of the most famous pilots of her time. In 1937, she attempted to fly around the world along a route close to the equator. While crossing the Pacific Ocean, communication with her aircraft was lost. Extensive searches failed to locate her plane. Some believe she crashed into the ocean after running out of fuel, while others suggest she may have landed on a remote island. Decades of research have uncovered clues, but no definitive answer has solved the mystery of her final